Hello and welcome to round 11 of Grand Prix Baltimore. Randy Bueller, joined by GCB here in the booth. We're going to watch a couple of old school guys. These guys have been playing against each other for pretty much 20 years at this point. Chris was on Team Dead Guy back in the 90s. Andrew was on Team CMU. Played against each other. They tested for a Pro Tour together in 1998. The Uber team.
Wow.
Meanwhile, they're both still pretty good at Magic. Both of them put up a 9-0 yesterday. Both of them dropped their first round this morning. So here they sit at 9-1. Still have a loss to give, but there's 5 rounds left in this tournament, so they're not interested in losing that second game just yet.
No, and it's a rough way to start the day. You come in 9-0 and then go to 9-2 right away.
Yeah, Chris seems content with his deck. I mean, it's basically blue-red with just a touch of white for Sage of the Inward Eye and Leaping Master activations. It's, maybe a bunch of hidden Mystics. He kind of wants to gum up the ground and then attack with Mystics for the win. Andrew, meanwhile, seems to have a pretty nice Warriors deck.
Yeah, and Chris here saying, I know exactly what's going on. I'm going to play my Flock as an 0-5. I don't want it dying to any debilitating injuries. I'm going to start blocking right away, so does that.
Jeez. 2 Chief of the Scale and an Abzan Falconer. Those are 3 premium uncommons that Andrew Cuneo has played so far.
Andrew, though, not making a land drop means he's got a handful of spells, but as the game goes late, will he be able to compete? Ooh.
Yeah, when Chris is getting to 5 mana while his opponent's stuck on 3, that is good news for him. His deck has a lot of good sort of 4, 5, even 6 mana creatures. His curve's a little top heavy, but if he draws sort of the right mix of land and spells, his deck should be good.
Well, and in this situation, you've got him playing Sage of the Inward Eye, only having played one other creature. He skipped his 4th turn. He's probably got something to turn that lifelink on. So.
Well, Chiefs are heading in.
Well, they both have 4 toughness, so perfectly safe for him to attack.
Sure.
Chris tapped out and only 3 power on the board.
Out last time. Out last time.
Cuneo drew the 4th land, so he's in good shape. Gets to play Morph and do his Outlast. That Falconer now is going to be big enough to take on that Sage.
What does Chris have? I do see a 6th land.
I saw a red card in his hand.
Oh,
he's
Water Whirl.
He's going to trigger his Sage. He's going to take the counter off the Falconer and put it back in his hand.
See what the morph is.
Yep. He's going to gain 4 life. That's pretty good for Chris. Pretty good turn.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of Water Whirl, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. Often the game gets to this point, and if you want to play a tempo game, it can be a big swing.
Yeah, Chris had the opportunity to take a second one and declined because his curve was so top heavy.
Well, I think a second one probably a little too much.
You don't like it that much then?
Yeah, I
like
it
one Water Whirl.
Yeah, I like to have the one. It's an uncommon. There aren't a lot of them floating around. So. Chris says, "Okay, I'm ready to race."
No lifelink this time.
Nope.
7th land. Hasn't missed a land drop yet. And it's starting to enter flood territory. I mean, this has basically been a 3-spell, 7-land game for Chris Pikula.
Right, and one of those spells actually was -1 card.
The Water Whirl, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big mana advantage. It took away all the mana Andrew had used, but now he has 1 less card, and Andrew still has that Morph and that Abzan. You see them both in play now.
8th land. It seems like that's officially too many.
Yeah, I think that's too many. I think that's more than Chris wanted. I think he'd love to just have something like a Tormenting Voice here to get rid of one of those lands, but I don't think he does.
Let's get Scions he can pump with excess blue mana, potentially.
That would be pretty nice right now. You'd stop that,
that
game from the Chiefs coming in on the ground. But now he's looking at a situation where he knows his opponent has spells, so if he just tries to race 3 damage for, God, it's not good. It's 3 for 7 if he attacks.
Yeah, if he can trigger lifelink reliably, he'd be in a good spot, but he doesn't have all that many spells in his deck.
And he may be thinking about something like a Crippling Chill right now, like asking the question, do I want the lifelink more? But no, it looks like he's got a Arrow Storm. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that.
He's double checking. That does only have 4 toughness, right?
Yeah, kill the Falconer, trigger the lifelink on the Sage.
No, this is a race he can get behind. Yep.
Right, he is now ahead in this race again.
Yep. The Morph does not come in. Cuneo saying, all right, I'm ready to block you.
Interesting.
And
Oh,
it
it's
looks
the
like it
Sage Eye
will be
Harrier
the
from
Sage.
before?
Yep, Sage Eye Harrier. No surprise, that gets in the way. But Pikula seems pretty ready to deal with this. Nope, he's just going to play another creature. And Chris looking pretty good for being this flooded. He's stopped Andrew's offense. It looks like he's down about 6 spells at this point. So the old saying, screw beats flood.
Right. Andrew finds land number 5, uses it for Hooting Mandrills.
And it's nice, it gives him the other color as well that he was missing. You see Cuneo's hand full of action. He has Feat of Resistance, he has Throttle, he has Rise of the Serpent, I think, which he's going to be able to play now if he wants to. He has Doom Blast. So now we know why Andrew's content to stare as they both accumulate creatures.
Wow.
Does not look good for Pikula. And they're just passing the turns back and forth. I think Chris just drew a Mardu Heart Piercer, I think.
Oh, sure, yeah, he does have a Heart Piercer in his hand.
Yeah, so now he's looking at, hey, can I get an attack in? And he could certainly attack with the Sage and then play the Heart Piercer to kill the Sage Eye Harrier.
That does seem like a decent plan. On the face of it.
On the face. Knowing what's in Andrew's
Yeah,
hand.
you can't put your opponent on having a Doom Blast.
And certainly Doom Blast not usually seen with a collection of warriors, right? Oh, that play would not work since those chiefs pumping the Sage Eye's toughness,
right.
of course.
Sage
that
Eye's
Sage Eye's
warrior.
gigantic.
Wow, Herald of Anafenza. Cuneo's card quality just plain seems higher here.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It looks like it's going to be tough for Chris to catch up in this game.
Even ignoring the 9 lands versus 6 aspect of this game, it's...
Yeah, and Chris may not know that. He doesn't know about the Doom Blast. He knows he's behind on spells because Cuneo missed all those land drops, but he has Mystic of the Hidden Ways in his deck.
Yes, he does.
So he's thinking, hey, if this stalls out, that's not so bad for me. I'll play a Mystic, I'll start getting in.
All right, Sage runs into the Harrier. Is he going to go for the Heart Piercer play?
Well, if he does, I hope he has more than that. He's going to Heart Piercer, kill the Herald.
That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
But
That thing's going to get out of hand. Take care of it before that happens.
So from Andrew's perspective, he got Chris to commit more resources to the board while he builds up for this Doom Blast.
Yeah, and you see Cuneo
How
now.
many cards does he have in his hand?
He's drawn Rush of Battle. Pretty fun little deck here where you can say, you can show someone a Doom Blast in one game, and then the next game get them with a Rush of Battle. And now what do? If they manage to win one of those games, in game 3, do they put enough guys on the board to block all your creatures so that you can't rush, or do they hold some guys back to avoid Doom Blast? Interesting conundrum for his opponents.
Chris commits a 6th creature to the board.
Yeah.
Still, he's got to find a way to punch through this board. Sage Eye Harrier, couple of Chiefs. Wow, Andrew just goes for the Throttle.
Yeah, and he's going to get Chris to commit all of his resources before that Doom Blast because Cuneo has so much in his hand, I think. So he's saying, let me just draw you out. Let me just say, you're never going to think I have a Doom Blast if I'm playing Throttle like this.
All right, Sage down.
In effect, it's sort of like Cuneo is trading that Throttle for the next creature that Chris draws to make sure that it hits the table before the Doom Blast, Did you see that morph? I think it's probably a Mystic the way Chris just flung it out there.
Plausible. Are you sure he has the Doom Blast in his hand?
He does. He doesn't have the 7th land, though, so.
Oh, see, literally 7 cards. Has to play creatures to the board so that it doesn't discard?
He has 6, I think.
So he didn't necessarily have to play that chief.
Didn't have to, no. But at this stage of the game,
Yeah, Chris flips his Mystic, hits for 3. Plays the Scion of Glacier, so he's got another big guy.
I think it just becomes, Cuneo, if he does nothing on his turn, it becomes so obvious that he's holding something like a Doom Blast.
Well, he doesn't have the 7th land, as you point out.
Right. So I think that might be one of the reasons that he plays a creature each turn, is to say, oh, nothing's up here, just trying to establish my board.
And it's like 7 cards in hand to 2.
Yeah. Cuneo down to 8, so he does need to deal with that Mystic.
Right.
What he would like to be able to do is kill it with the Doom Blast and hold the Rise for the next creature. But he may just have to run the Rise out now, preserve his life total.
I mean, if he doesn't draw the 7th land, he's going to have to do this next turn.
And that's the play.
He does it here where there's still time to recover from any...
And Pikula with the cancel. Well,
wow, Rise of the Serpent baits out a cancel.
And now suddenly this game seems to be about one thing exactly. Does Cuneo draw that 7th land? Because if he does, Chris doesn't have the cancel anymore. But if he doesn't, Cuneo only has 2 turns before that Mystic takes him out.
It's not a land.
Not a land.
What a crazy game.
He does have Rush of Battle though, so he can just play that and gain a bunch of life, and you may see that play this turn. Because otherwise he's leaving himself open to any burn spell that Chris might have. Yep, there it is. And this is, with the amount of toughness that all of Cuneo's warriors have, this is a devastating attack.
Sage Eye does not attack.
So he's going to gain 12 life here.
2 plus 6 power, they're all plus 2.
Note the 2 mana up.
Again.
Chris might go for a block here to try to kill some of these. Cuneo has Feet of Resistance.
Now, what do you think of leaving Sage Eye on defense here? Could have gained 3 life by attacking with it.
Could have, but as a defender, it also can block a Scion or a Summit Prowler, which is 4 or more.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he's thinking. Yeah, Pikula lining up some blocks. He doesn't want to take all that damage. He does double block 1 Chief. I think we'll probably see Cuneo just...
block, double block.
Oh, there it is, yep. Of course, he's going to block with the Monastery Flock.
Scion is also a safe block.
Yep. So Cuneo thinking about that feat. So if he gains 12 life, that puts him at 17. The feat would make it 18 with the lifelink. That's going to give him plenty of time to draw that 7th land, you would think, to take out the Mystic.
Wow, 2 mana for Seeker.
Now he's got another lifelink source if he needs it. Chris felt like he was just a turn or 2 away here. Now he's got to figure out how to take out all that life.
17 to 16.
Yeah.
Only 6 more attacks from the Mystic. There's no other attacks, right? There's a 4/4 on defense.
And the 1/5 flyer prevents the Leaping Master from getting in.
Right.
So.
I mean, maybe Scion can try to get in a cheeky attack, but it's going to get double blocked and killed.
Yeah, it is. And he could pump it up just enough to trade, so it's not.
So you need to play defense because it's 17-16 and just the Mystic chips away, right?
I think that's the play. Chris trying to make sure that he doesn't have any other attacks, and maybe he has something in his hand that could change the tenor of this combat. Did he draw a Warden of the Inward Eye? He's looking for his graveyard there. Here comes the Mystic. Playing that and picking up a cancel would be big game, right?
Would you pick up a cancel, though, in the dark, though? Wouldn't you pick up an Arrow Storm?
Well, with Cuneo having a handful of spells and being in white, I think you're pretty happy with the state of the game. Cuneo can't attack you, and you're getting in with a Mystic. I think I'd pick up the cancel. I know if the roles were reversed, Cuneo would pick up the cancel. That's for sure. And it is the Warden, so we'll see what Chris thinks.
He's eyeing the cancel.
Slumming that to the top. It's always awkward to get the cancel when you're showing it to your opponent.
Sure.
So they get to try to bait you. So
There's the
seventh land right on time.
Right after your opponent played a cancel.
Pull the cancel back to their hand, yeah. So here he goes. He's going to play some scary cards. Scariest stuff you can find.
You want to cancel this?
Pretty scary right now because
I mean, yeah, it is a reasonably threatening card.
he can sacrifice a Seeker right now to do 2 to Chris and gain 2 because it has 4 toughness from the Chiefs. Every creature in play right now is eligible for that effect.
Crazy.
For Cuneo. And that gets it. The cancel comes out. Cuneo thumbs that Dune Blast to the front of his hand. Chris is not going to like that Dune Blast.
It's actually, what, 5 for 6 right now? It's not radically unbalanced. It's just that Andrew has more cards in his hand.
Right, and the fact that Pikula, being a little flooded, had to play all his resources to get this board stall where Andrew didn't.
Chris is going to go for it here with a Crippling Chill.
Yep, so he can get in with that Leaping Master.
It's not crazy.
No, I think
Seems
it's a
like the
reasonable
right
plan. Cuneo still has that feat of resistance.
Right.
I think Chris knows he has it now. As long as he's considering it. And will play it.
Yeah, I mean, it not only keeps the Sage Eye untapped, it also fizzles the Crippling Chill, so there's no card draw.
Yeah. A conservative play from Cuneo. He could certainly just play into Dune Blast the following turn and say, who cares if it's tapped? I'll take an extra 2 damage, but I think we might be seeing that Dune Blast right now.
Is it time?
Cuneo says it is time. And what will he keep? Do you think the Hooting Mandrills?
There's a couple interesting choices. I mean, Seeker is a 3/3 lifelinker this turn.
Not great
Sage
after.
Eye is decent flyer.
Sage Eye is great and a great defensive card because it can block just about everything. So
I think I'm with you on Mandrills, though.
Yeah, it's a nice round 4-turn clock here. And Jeskai not particularly good with dealing with 4/4s. And Chris just passed the turn back. He's on all lands in hand. So this looks pretty good for Cuneo. Yeah, that's going to be pretty tough to catch up from.
Yep.
Chris draws 2 lands after the Dune Blast and
wow.
He picked up that cancel, but it came out of his hand real fast. I think that Bloodsucker probably would have gotten him anyway. I think he has to cancel that there.
Yeah, no, I think that Andrew played it pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think Chris did anything specifically wrong.
No. He had kind of a tough draw. He created a situation where he was dealing damage to his opponent.
Yeah, he was a little bit flooded, did what he had to do to be poking away for damage on the board. Rush of battle, bought Andrew the time he needed to find the 7th land.
Yeah, and now Chris is in the rock and the hard play situation. He's seen the rush and the Dune Blast. So
it's true. They both came out that game. Crazy.
So actually see Cuneo siding out that rush of battle there. He says,
"Oh, nice.
I showed it to you. I know you're the aggressive deck."
Andrew's been playing pretty good Magic lately. He hasn't put up a Pro Tour top 8 in a while, but he's been doing well at the Grand Prix circuit. He keeps putting up like Pro Tour top 16s. That's where he was at the first Pro Tour this year. Top 16, top 25, top 50. He was actually 41 Pro points last season. He was 4 points away from Platinum.
Yeah, he's earned that invitation, and he's back on the train. He's doing it like
he is
just
solidly gold. He was actually in the top 25 rankings until the World's points win, and he didn't quite make the cut at Worlds, so he slipped out on the World's rankings, but puts up a result here. He'll be right back ranked again and kind of on track to potentially put up Platinum.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a tremendous player.
I think he's underrated, too. I
Yeah.
mean, I agree that he's tremendous. I mean, I've been singing his praises every time I've had the chance. But
Well, it's tough, you know. You need that slight bit of variance between two top 16s and one top 8 and a top 32.
Right.
You just look
It's a
so much
big
better if you have
difference.
the top 8. Yep.
That is exactly correct.
Yeah. And I would not be surprised to see Cuneo pick up a Pro Tour top 8 soon.
Yeah. I feel like there's been, I mean, he came back to the game a couple of years ago, and there's probably been 3 different Pro Tours where he was kind of one match away from being right there on top 8.
Right. What's did he have top 8s in his first?
The car acrobatic team. He has 2 different Pro Tour top 8s, both in Team Limited, alongside Aaron Forsythe and Andrew Johnson.
All right. Okay, so we have Jadine Klamparens versus John Stern.
Looks like Jadine is up a game.
Looks like she is, and yep, John on the play here. No dual lands in play for either player yet. That's somewhat unusual. And John's missed his 4th land drop.
I believe these players are X2, so cannot afford to lose if they want to make the top 8. More for Jadine.
Jadine, of course, one of the players who made the Jeskai Tempo deck in Standard, famous at the beginning of this format.
Right?
And looks like, oh, hey, we're back to Cuneo and Pikula. We're off to a
Guys
quick
flying
start.
through the opening turns. Herald of Anafenza comes down and makes a warrior on turn 3 for Andrew Cuneo. Leaping Master. Chris got one of his 2 precious 2-drops.
Now it's facing down a 1/1 silver
Oh, but he
token
played
it doesn't
nothing
want
on
to trade
turn
with.
3?
Yeah, it looks like. And that Herald now out of reach of any Heart Piercer shenanigans. So Chris has to be content to just play a Morph.
Morph, which was not there on turn 3.
No. Although,
Or I guess it's possible it was Windscale Crag? I don't know. Wow, Abzan Falconer, so Herald flies.
maybe what happened was that the Windscarred Crag was the 3rd
Yeah,
land.
that's also possible.
Yeah, because it looks like he has more Morphs in his hand.
No, that makes sense then. He's just been probably happy to have drawn the 4th and 5th lands off the top then.
Yep.
Even if the order could have been a little better optimized.
You see, Chris does have a Treasure Cruise, it looks like, in his hand, and a lot of Morphs. So, not a lot of ways to create initiative, though.
Yeah, swinging it with a Morph. Andrew's not gonna mess around with Falconer.
Nope. Although Falconer now giving Herald flying, so it looks like it got in for 2. Yeah, Cuneo's deck looks really good in this game. It does.
This is the card quality that he got. Seems quite good.
So that Herald was the first pick in his draft.
Okay.
And he didn't really look around too much. He was in white-black most of the draft.
Did he get that late Chief that was floating around the table?
Yes, he did.
I guess we haven't shown the audience at home any of the drafts yet, but
Right.
I know I watched Reed's and I watched Chris's. You guys will get to see those shortly. Yeah, I mean, if you first pick Herald of Anafenza and then the black-white deck is there, great.
Yeah. Why wouldn't
up.
you? Yeah, and you know, he flirts a little bit in the draft with being red, and then he sees that there are green opportunities there. He mostly sticks with white and black. That's the way I like to draft this format. Pick 2 opposing colors, take cards in those colors, be open to a little bit of splash from another one.
Falconer in the Herald attack.
And Chris had the opportunity to try to maybe get a double block on the Falconer, but with all that open mana, it's too dangerous. It could be a throttle or a feat of resistance, and we're just getting blown out.
And Krumar Bonkin comes down face up.
That Bonkin looks pretty big right now.
Now, what does Chris have?
Well, it looks like he has at least one of those face-down creatures as a 4/5. And that can trade with a Krumar Bonkin, but it's not going to change what's happening here on the board. So,
Crippling Chill taps Krumar Bonkin. He will not untap next turn, so this kind of clears a path for an attack with the 2 Morphs. Although the Leaping Master is still being held off by that the 1 token from the Herald of Anafenza.
yeah, maybe Chris was thinking I could draw a land here and play another Morph or activate Leaping Master. He did not draw the land. Yeah, he can get an attack back, but the board just doesn't look good for him. He didn't develop his board at all that turn.
Right.
Just has to pass the turn back. Now, if you're Cuneo, you're thinking, well, he left 2 mana up. That smells like either a Feat of Resistance or a bounce spell, showing white, red, blue mana.
Could be a Disdainful Stroke.
Or Disdainful Stroke, yep. Certainly, if Pikula has one, he's going to set it in his Rush of Battle and Doom Blast.
He does not, in fact, have one. That's why he said he wasn't happy to have to play Cancel, actually.
Right.
Didn't have a stroke, so.
Cuneo's hand looks pretty good.
I haven't really seen bad cards come out of his deck yet.
Nope. And interestingly, he didn't take a lot of lands in the draft because he was so clearly black-white. And until he saw that Doom Blast late in the draft, he was probably not going to play green at all. Then saw that, ended up picking up a few more green cards in the last pack.
So the Flying Herald and the 1/1 Soldier go in. Makes sense.
Yep, so he's playing around that feat probably by not risking the Falconer against the Leaping Master.
Gains the life from Blossoming Sands. Is it Outlast time on the Falconer itself?
Looks like yes.
Yes.
Yep, there it is.
And a Chief.
Pretty dominant board position from Cuneo.
Definitely.
Pikula has to spend his turn just icing the Krumer Bondkin for a little while, but it's going to come back. Pikula does have
The Force Away?
the Force Away, it looks like. He's trying to make the most of his mana.
Yeah, he is. Force Away, Crippling Chill can work if you're ahead significantly on the board.
Force Away the Chief, that's interesting. He's going to try to get in an
And it's
attack
only
here.
untapped, yeah.
So-
He gets half his life total with these 6, right?
Yeah, he does. And so he's trying to put Cuneo on the defensive, which is a pretty good plan, considering that Cuneo has the evasion creatures. And we think one of those morphs is a 4/5. I'm not sure what the other one is. Glacial Stalker.
Yeah, well, Chris basically spent last turn on tempo. Used his 5 mana for Crippling Chill and a Force Away. He's planning to try to win this game quickly and without ever really dealing with some of Cuneo's threats.
Yeah, and he's managed to get himself into a nice situation where he can attack and put Cuneo down to 6 because he's attacking first.
Right.
And Cuneo's spending some of his turns outlasting instead of getting into combat. But that Krumer Bondkin's coming back next turn.
Yeah, Cuneo's got, what, 11 power?
He doesn't. 5 of it flies.
Yep.
Now I think Pikula has the Monastery Flock in his hand, so he could attack, put Cuneo on the defensive. Maybe Cuneo only attacks with 1 flyer, and then he can flip that flock and say, okay, I'm blocking. Well, what's his plan from there? You know, Cuneo's low, but you can't get him quite low enough to hit him with an Aerostorm.
Does he have time to flip a Mystic?
Well, he could make the play of flip Glacial Stalker, attack, put you down to 4, hope that I draw Aerostorm next turn.
Sure.
I don't think Chris wants to risk it, down a game. That's not going to be a very tempting play.
It'd be one thing if he had Aerostorm in his hand.
If he had Aerostorm in his hand, then I suspect he would do it. Oh, Cuneo's at 13 life.
Oh. That changes things.
So we missed that land coming into play.
The Blossoming Sands?
Yeah. That must have been it.
It's a big point of life.
It is. The Aerostorm play is still valid because, Chris could just attack with any old creature to trigger the raid. Looks like Pikula has a Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, that's what I saw too, which he could basically spend his whole turn casting.
Yeah. Not really what he wants to be doing right now. So
Saw him talking with John Finkel in between rounds. Finkel was berating him for having the cruise in his sideboard. Oh, Riverwheel Alias. That's a solid 6
pretty good.
4/5 in the air.
He has the
He left that
morph.
one morph back, though.
He may be planning to either chump block the Bonkin or just hold that soldier back. I'm not sure. Fearing a piece of removal from Cuneo and then a big crack.
Sure.
Do we see a throttle over there for Cuneo?
Not sure. Andrew would be content to trade this Bonkin for the river Wheel Aerialist, so
Clearly,
it gets to attack.
And the Riverwheel Aerialist, usually pretty dangerous creature. That is a throttle over there.
Here's the Chief. Here's the Salt Road Patrol.
Cuneo just saying, all right, I'll take over the board. Can you find a way to fight through?
Andrew does have a couple flyers to fend off any giant Riverwheel Aerialist shenanigans.
Although, one piece of removal kills both of them because you take out the Falconer.
Fair.
So he has to feel a little bit nervous about that. Looks like Pikula just looking at Treasure Cruise and a morph and a land. Yeah, Creamer Bonkin, a really interesting one. You know, it's big enough that you have to put 2 morphs in front of it to threaten to kill it, but then it's going to get a 2-for-1. So, kind of an innocuous little guy. Can be really scary.
Mystic of the Hidden Way.
Okay, that was the other morph. So now we see Chris's plan come into focus. And he is going to play a face-down Monastery Flock, giving him the opportunity to unmorph.
Aerialist stays on D.
Yeah.
Needs 2 more attacks from the Mystic.
Or he needs to be able to get rid of that Falconer. Get in with the Aerialist and the Mystic.
Okay, Grimoire Bonkin.
No,
Keeps turning sideways.
no fear from Cuneo here. He's not trying to force any action. I think Pikula has to know now that he doesn't have the rush of battle, because that would have been probably the turn to play it.
Sure. Do you line up a double block here? Morph and a Leaping Master?
I don't think you can.
2 morphs?
No, he's just going to chump block. So
Chumps
the
with the
Monastery
Monastery
Flock hits the graveyard. Saves Pikula 5 life. The Alpha Strike's just looking scary no matter what the situation is.
And there's the throttle.
There's the throttle.
Down goes Mystic of the Hidden Way. Now
So-
what is Chris attacking with? Now he needs to come up with an answer to Falconer.
Here's what's going to happen. He's going to play that Treasure Cruise, pumping his River Wheel. He's going to dig for an answer to Falconer. Oh, I think he might have it. He can Crippling Chill. Oh, no, that's not enough because he can block with the Herald. So he needs to actually take out the Falconer. So what he wants here is Treasure Cruise.
Treasure Cruise
something that
into. I
can
don't
take
think he
out
has
the
a
Falconer.
second Force Away.
And he only
Got
has...
an Arrow Storm, but I don't think he'll have mana for it.
No. He could draw a land too, so that helps. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 cards in the yard, so Treasure Cruise costs 4.
It's just 1 more than he wants it to cost because he wants to be able to get that Arrow Storm. Chris looking at a potentially lethal Alpha Strike next turn. He's got 3 blockers.
What's Chris's other card?
I believe it's a Chill.
Okay.
Crippling Chill. So maybe what he wants to do is use the Crippling Chill on Cuneo's turn, giving himself 1 more card in the graveyard and 2 more draw steps, but nope. He's going to Treasure Cruise.
I like this play. You leave up Crippling Chill mana if you don't draw something better.
Yeah, it gives him another. That's a Water Whirl.
Oh, Water Whirl.
That might be it.
Next turn.
Yeah, next turn.
He
So
needs to
can,
survive a turn, and then you said he's got Crippling Chill.
I think he has a Crippling Chill, so he can probably hit that Krumr Bondkin, buy himself some time, and then the extra life's not going to hurt from there. I think it was the Water Whirl there in his hand. And he also has the option to attack with the Aerialist and try to take out one of those flyers because...
He's got to create a chump block, right?
Yeah, the Crippling Chill out of his hand could be an instant speed, hump the Aerialist if he doesn't block. It's a great attack.
Threatening 5. Yeah, Cuneo doesn't have
any chump blocks. Oh my gosh, now he doesn't even need a Water Whirl. He just needs to be able to tap that Falconer.
Well, Assault Road Patrol flies now.
Oh, it certainly does.
Yeah, he needs to bounce the Falconer.
Yeah, he has to get the Falconer.
That also beats any feat of resistance shenanigans, putting +1/+1 counters and creating yet another flyer.
Although the feat of resistance would stop the Water Whirl from bouncing the Falconer anyway.
Yeah, right, you're right. Cuneo lining up an Alpha Strike. There you go. What happens if I just turn them all sideways?
There is the feat of resistance. He has it. So, Pikula, if he plays the Crippling Chill on the Bondkin before combat, Cuneo can give it protection from blue.
And randomly flying.
And flying. And that is going to be enough.
But is Cuneo tempted to give it flying pre-combat?
He might be.
Well, Leaping Master can get in the way.
Not if Chris plays his Crippling Chill. So
right, well, I mean, with one guy having a feat and the other guy having a Crippling Chill, the guy who goes first loses.
Yep. And he is going to play it. Okay. Now, does he actually have that Crippling Chill?
All right, this guy wants to fly and wants to have protection from a color, which I'm guessing will be red.
So he's going to name red. Chris doesn't have to...
No, well, yeah. I mean, he could, if he randomly named blue, it would be a blowout, but then Leaping Master can block, so whatever.
Yeah.
All right. I'm assuming he named white? He named white. Why would he name white?
Kill shot.
Interesting.
He's worried about kill shot.
Okay. Guess he figures Leaping Master gets to block something, so whatever.
Oh, there's only 2 creatures Leaping Master can block here. And indeed, you're going to see the Crippling Chill, and what is he going to hit? He can't hit the Falconer. If he hits the Falconer, he takes...
Why is he looking at the Falconer?
8 in the air. Do we have his life total wrong? I think Pikula just missed that the Bondkin has flying.
Did he miss it? Those guys fly?
Yeah.
Wow. Those guys fly.
I think Chris didn't realize that.
Oh my goodness! He missed the Falconer with the flying. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Chris just, thinking so much about the protection and what that meant.
Sure.
He missed the fact that the Bondkin was gaining flying.
Ouch.
That's a rough way to lose.